and it's simplistic. It's 60-40. Pick one of those two dates, and it's 50-50 to rematch for a guy who's coming off 2 losses. Tyson's giving him an opportunity to get back into the big time.
Big facts.
That's the bottom line of all this. It's not nonsense. That's what it is. He's got a great opportunity to fight for a world title again. The offer's there, and we need an answer quickly because
ASAP.
Tyson has
told
me this morning again, if they do not come back with the thumbs up, then we move on.
They've accepted, Team Joshua have accepted a 60-40 split in favour of Tyson Fury. You've got November 26th and December 3rd booked, 2 venues in the UK. You won't disclose what, but is there a final message to Team Joshua about this fight?
Yeah, again, let's get it done. You've got today to do it. I mean, as I say, this is not rocket science.
Ooh, what's good, family? Big shout out to my doggy. Your man the YB #1 sugar mama in the game right now, Lizzie Corinne, for coming through and keeping the coin boosted at all times. So we just heard there from your mans, Frank, Bricktop, Warren. Yeah, Frank laying the law, how he running his manner, setting the deadline. He tell Jon Stewart, he tell Team Anthony Bumure, listen, you have until the end of today to get on the blower and let us know what time it is. Because guess what? Guess what, Eddie? Yeah, the problem with Eddie is he's stuck in 2016 when AJ was running things. AJ don't run nada. AJ is what we call a bottom. In fact, AJ been a bottom. Yeah, and bottoms get topped. Simple as that. Yeah, simple as that. AJ, you're a sub. You're a submissive. When Usyk was piddling around and jabbing your bonds off for you, you were submissive. You submitted to Usyk in the 10th, 11th and 12th round. He made a sub out of you. Yeah, he was your dominer. You was like dominer, Mr. Dominer Usyk. Yeah, big facts. Call me a liar. Usyk topped you, and now Fury is give you a golden handshake deal. Because he fancy a quick go on you. Because guess what? Fury isn't stupid. Yeah? Fury, he don't want sloppy sevenths. Mr. Blobby had to go on you. Mr. Middle had to go on you. And Fury, he don't want Mr. Daniel Dubois to have a go on you. Mr. Joe Joyce to have a go on you. Mr. Zhang to have a go on you. Fury wants to get in there before he ends up taking 11s. Yeah, he don't want no 11s. He want the sloppy thirds. ASAP, yeah? And he willing to pay the premium price for that sweet African booty you got. That's the end of the bottom line. He looking to come from the back like this. Yeah, that's what he's looking to do. And some people are saying, oh, YB, Fury given a deadline. Listen, how hard is it? Yeah? Do you want it or don't you want it? Oh, but why be the dates? Oh, why be the dates? Listen, I've done the maths, yeah? December 17th is 14 weeks. 14 weeks to this weekend. Don't forget, people, AJ was let known on Monday. So it was over 14 and a half weeks AJ had until December 17th. Now, December 3rd, which is the option that Fury's given him, is 12 and a half weeks. Bear in mind, AJ's only been in camp. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I think it's maybe 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, my man was in camp. Fighting, sorry. Was it 3 weeks? I think it might be 3, you know. This weekend, I think it's 3 weeks. It is 3 weeks. So, AJ fought 3 weeks ago. That's plenty of time to recover when you had a sparring session. Let's not forget, people. AJ, normally boxers, they spar twice a week. Oops. Normally boxers spar twice a week, every week. So don't tell me that, oh, he needs more than 3 weeks to recover. Normally, after a sparring session, you wouldn't have any time to recover. Oops. AJ's had 3 weeks to recover. And also, he's at an advantage because he actually has 12 rounds in the ring, which is fitness. AJ's only coming off a camp. So, for Fury to give him 12 and a half weeks to prepare, most fighters only have an 8-week camp anyway. And it's not like AJ starting from zero. He's got a full camp behind him, plus a full 12 rounds, competition rounds. Plus it wasn't a hard fight. Plus it's only 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. So in my mind it's the best of both worlds in as much as Okay, AJ's had 2 weeks off now to recover. Plenty of time. And now he can hit the road running again without falling off the wagon. You don't want 2 months off to get rusty. Now, listen, if Fury said the fight needs to be in November, or if Fury said anything less, I ain't gonna lie to you, I think anything less than 12 weeks is a bit dodgy, to be quite honest with you. Anything less than 12 is the perfect one, because you've got 8 weeks plus another 4.5. That's just mad. I can't see how you'd need more than that. More for what? Don't forget, people, let's look at it from a calendar point of view. AJ's got over 3 months. That's a quarter. Do you know what I'm saying? He's got a quarter of a year to prepare and a few days on top. Do you know what I'm saying? A quarter of a year plus a few sprinklings. And you only fought 3 weeks ago. No, listen, like I said, if Fury was demanding November, I'd still probably say AJ should take it because he ain't getting a look in nowhere else. But realistically, I can understand there's an argument that it's a bit dodgy. But to be given over 12 weeks, I don't see no argument for nothing. And that's why the deadline is the deadline. Yeah, Fury got other things to be doing. He don't need to throw you a bone. And the fact he's throwing you a bone, and you think you're big dogs, oh, we're going to take time. Take time for what? Yeah, December 3rd is all the time you need. And I wouldn't mind you, but it's not like you've got a chance anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Fair enough, yeah? Listen, let me tell you something now, AJ, yeah? If you had a chance, I'd get it. Well, YB, he's got a chance, so he wants a bit more time. Listen, AJ, let me explain why you having more time don't make no difference. Listen, you had 11 months to fight a man half your size. Oops. 11 months. And you went in there after 11 months of preparation. And 10 trainers later. And you went in there and you performed marginally better. It took you 10 months to get, I'd say out of 10, yeah. The first fight was a 2. The second fight was a 3 or a 4 tops. So it's taken you 11 months to gain a point or 2. And really, that was AJ's ceiling. Because for AJ to do any more than he done against Usyk in the rematch, he'd have to have some heart. What we saw AJ versus Usyk 2, yeah, that shows you the pinnacle of a man fighting without no heart. It was as technical and as clinical as you get. That's it though. Above that, you need that switch. You can try to be technical all you want. It's never going to get you over that hill. The greatness hill. And when you fight great fighters like Usyk, like Fury, you have to at least be able to match them there. Look at Wilder, for example. Wilder, because he has that great switch, that is what enabled him to be in the fight in the Fury trilogy. Yeah? Because if Wilder had rocked up like you did against Usyk, he'd have been knocked out and that would have been that. It was only because Wilder dared to be great that he was able to flip it back round. Wilder went down and then knocked Fury down twice in the next round. That's what greatness is. You don't have that switch in you. Usyk demonstrated it. Wilder demonstrated it. Fury has demonstrated it. You don't have it. So, more time for what? More time so you can... I don't get that. Like I said, I wouldn't mind if AJ had shown, yeah, well, YB, with more time, he's making more gains. He ain't making more gains. Because his problem isn't training. Oh, tell a lie, he ain't got no cardio, but that's what I don't get. But listen, if you ain't have no cardio after 11 months, you ain't never going to have no cardio. We've just seen Luis Ortiz. I've actually watched that fight back. Couldn't believe it. We've just seen Luis Ortiz, a 50-year-old man, walk down Andy Ruiz for 12 rounds after being put down 3 times himself. That there is heart. That there is greatness. That there is cardio. Luis Ortiz weighed just as much as you. And he was in there moshing Andy Ruiz. The first man really to back Andy Ruiz up. Facts. Watch it. Luis Ortiz dominated the centre of the ring in the Ruiz fight and backed him up all night. And he's 50 years old. And he was throwing, his best round was probably round 12. Throwing heavy leather for 12 rounds. Oops. Do you know what I'm saying? Old ass dude. That's the reason he was able to do that is because he has great characteristics. About you, 18 stone this, 18 stone that. You had 11 months to prepare for what should have been one of your easiest fights. That's a God's honest truth. And you couldn't get it. You had 11 months to prepare, you had no cardio, and you still had no heart. We know this anyway. We know you can't train heart. You either have that switch or you don't. You don't have it. So what are we fronting for? I've seen AJ Goobers saying, oh, AJ, don't be rushed, and oh, he wants to catch you on the rush. Catch you on the rush for 12 and a half weeks? What the fuck? If anything, God's honest truth here, I believe AJ is in the best position. Because Fury's been out for 7 months. Really, AJ has the rare opportunity here to kind of double down on the camp he's just had. Double down on that momentum. He knows now what it's like to be in the ring. It's close. Often I feel what a lot of the problem is with these so-called top guys is other sports, basketball, football, they're competing twice a week. So you have that form. These guys, AJ, or they forget what it's like under the lights. They forget how they left off. They forget how it felt. Yeah? 11 months is a long ass time. That's a long ass time. So I think it might be actually beneficial that AJ keeps how it felt. He was allegedly, I'm not sure, I think it might be pantomime, but he was allegedly, don't forget people, he was allegedly pissed off. He was allegedly pissed off at the fact he lost. Well, use that. Keep that momentum. Not for 11 months' time, where it's all worn off and you forgot how it felt. Use that momentum to get back into camp and keep it fresh. Because really, I think this Fury fight for AJ should be viewed as the same fight as the Usyk fight, i.e. the same saga. Don't think of Fury as a new man. Think of Fury as getting your get back for how sad you went out against Usyk. Yeah? Use the Fury fight in December 3rd to demonstrate, I would have won if I had have performed how I did in training. Great, I'm glad you said that. Show us that then on December 3rd. Oops, make your mind up. Because your issue isn't training. Well, I don't know. Again, that's the thing. It's not even like I'd be backing AJ to have more time if he was making some big changes. He's sticking with his same shit team. Yeah? I haven't got no DMs. Show me, listen, if AJ shows me a DM, YB, I need you bad. I'm down bad. I'm going through it, yeah? YB, come into camp. Get rid of all these suckers. If I saw that, listen, if your man or YB saw that DM, yeah, I'll be like, boom, we need some more time. But you're with the same bums anyway. Oh, he winning. Oh, he winning, man, he winning. Oh, he winning, man, he winning. Anthony, he winning, man. Oh, that's what you got that same goofy ass having ass Don anyway. So you might as well get your wig pushed back ASAP. Yeah? So Team Fury set a deadline, and rightfully so. Don't forget, people, these are the A-sides. And these are the same things that Team AJ have been doing, and rightfully so. The same way I tell people AJ is the A-side, and A-sides do what A-sides do. If an A-side says jump, you say how high. You don't do nothing else. That's what you don't do. Yeah? What's wrong with you clowns? You take it or you leave it. Simple as that. Big man thing. And actually, before I go, some people have been saying, oh, YB, Fury's using this to duck. Fury's don't want AJ on full form. Listen, I've already explained that AJ's form is irrelevant. But let me address the whole, Fury's ducking. Now, I can't lie to you. Is it a bit odd? Why can't they do December 17th? I haven't heard anything to the contrary that it could be done on December 17th, for example. If Team Fury came out and said December 17th can't happen because we don't have a stadium, that would make the most sense, but I haven't heard that. From what I understand, December 17th could happen. So I do have to admit, what difference does it make to Team Fury? December 17th or December 3rd? For what it's worth, let's not forget, since Fury wants to fight AJ anyway, why not give him 14 weeks, for example? That's a fair point. I ain't gonna lie to no one. Then again, like I've said, AJ is the A-side. Fury is the A-side. End of the day, if he wants December 17th, why shouldn't? That's probably the fair way of looking at it. Wait a minute. Fury is the A-side. Fury's throwing you a bone. Since when does for example, let's think about Floyd Mayweather here. Since when did random ass voluntaries tell Floyd when the date was? Since when did random ass voluntaries tell Canelo what date he's fighting on? Do you know what I'm saying? So from that point of view, I get it. I mean, you have to remember people that AJ has the same name as he has, but he don't have the same clout. He don't have no belts. He's been whooped by everyone. Everyone had a go on him. So what are we doing here? Yeah? Do you see anyone questioning when, oh well, YB, Canelo doesn't want to fight on, or Canelo's opponent doesn't want to fight on Cinco de Mayo? You don't hear none of that. It's given, he fights when he fights. Fury is in that same position now. And AJ is in that same voluntary position. It's a random ass nobody have an ass. Yeah? So I see that side as well. Why should, for a minute, Fury's already being overly generous, giving him 40%. He's already been overly generous, throwing him a bone in the first place. And now you want him to give you your preferred date. Get out of here, man, goofy. Why should he? Explain. For all we know, Fury doesn't want to fight a week before Christmas. Maybe he'd like to enjoy the full December, for example. Or, and to be quite frank, for whatever reason. That's what being at A-side's about. And AJ has no one to blame but himself. Because guess what? If AJ had used half of his anger he had after the fight, in the fight, he probably could have won. And in which case, he'd now be the one who's at least Fury's equal, and, you know what I'm saying? He'd have the power back. Oops. He chose not to, and that's on him. Unfortunately, AJ's whole career is gone through without consequences. Actions have consequences. You not turning up against middleweight means you've lost all your power. Now you must absorb the consequences. If you want to get the opportunity to fight Fury at a massively reasonable or he's overpaying you. If you want the opportunity for Fury to overpay you, it gets done on December 3rd. And that's the end of that. Because on what planet does the B-side, he's not even really B-side, on what planet does the C-side determine what day it's on? And that's what Team AJ need to click real quickly with. You are the C-side. And C-sides jump as high as the A-sides demand them to. Yeah? And to be quite frank, you're lucky he's even offering December. He would be arguably within his right to say it's in September. You know what I mean? He could say September. For all we know, Fury could say September 20th. And that'd still be his prerogative. Yeah? How many times has Canelo fought people on 4 weeks' notice? I'm pretty sure he fought Callum Smith on 4 weeks' notice. Oops. Do you understand? That's what you do. Yeah? And Callum Smith was undefeated at the time as well. He weren't some bum dosser. In fact, yeah, Canelo fought Callum Smith on 5 weeks' notice, yeah? And Callum Smith was the champion. Callum Smith was undefeated. Callum Smith was coming off his best win in his career. Merkin stopping George Groves. Oops. So wait there. Mr. Champion, undefeated, best win of his career, Callum Smith, got dragged in on 5 weeks' notice. And AJ's being given 12 and a half weeks. And you want to talk about, well, we want more. Get serious, man. Floyd's the same. Floyd's dragged people in now on 5 weeks' notice before. And to be quite honest with you, again, another great example. AJ himself. What has AJ done in the past to voluntary contenders? And this for me is the absolute dead and buried. Check this out. When AJ was fighting Jarrell Miller and Jarrell Miller pulled out, what did AJ do? He put the offer out to Luis Ortiz. He put the offer out to Andy Ruiz. Yeah? Guess what? AJ said it's 6 weeks until June 1st. We're not changing the date. I'm the A side, and I say you jump and how high. Oops, Andy Ruiz had to come in on late notice. He had to suck it up and crack on for his opportunity at the champion. What's the difference here? And that was 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks notice. What? Show me where you see Andy Ruiz. I'm sure Andy Ruiz might have like 12 weeks. Would he not? I'm sure Andy Ruiz might have like 14 weeks. Why didn't AJ just change the date? Oh, you know what? We'll go on July 14th because Andy Ruiz need more time. Oops, no. AJ, rightfully so. Nope, my date is June 1st. And you best, if you want the shot, you take the shot on 6 weeks' notice. And Andy Ruiz took it. Now, Tyson Fury being more than generous, giving you 40% and 12.5 weeks. I'm sorry that AJ don't have a leg to stand on. That whole December 17th thing, forget about it. Now I've thought about it, it don't even make sense to even mention that, to be quite frank. Yeah, you don't have any power. Do you know how stupid that sounds? Can you imagine if Andy Ruiz had said, oh, yeah, I know your date's June 1st, but I want it on. They'd have laughed Andy Ruiz out of the court, and rightfully so. But for some reason, AJ is so entitled, he's so arrogant, he thinks that he's running things. Clown. And that's why I'm glad either way. If the fact that happened, I'm glad, because AJ is a clown. He shouldn't really be getting this opportunity. And it tells me the fact that still, after losing to everyone, after losing his belts and showing no shame, it still hasn't really registered with him. The fact he's out here talking about what date he wants it on, you're not that guy anymore. You're the bum. You're the bum, random ass, any man voluntary. And you should be grateful Fury's even given you 12.5 weeks. God's honest truth. Fury would be well within his right to tell you it's in October. Oops. Yeah, well within his right. All them clowns out there, oh, YB, AJ, Fury ducking, get serious. Fury will smoke that dude. But what Fury's not going to do, wait a minute, Fury's already blessed you with 40%, which made no sense. And now you think, wait a minute, so you've already mugged off Fury with the earnings, with the split, and now you think you're going to call the shots with the date? No, it's one or the other. In my mind, it's one or the other. If I was Fury, I'd come back and say, okay, AJ, if you want December 17th, that's fine, but I'm the A side, and if you want December 17th, that comes. If you want me to change my ideal date, that comes at a penalty. You'll be paid 20%, 15%. So you make your choice. Yeah, you can make 40% on December 3rd or 15% on December 17th. If you're that bothered about the extra 2 weeks, you can pay for it. That's how life works. Yeah, and if you don't like it, you should have pulled your finger out your ass and dealt with Mr. Middleweight, and then you'd be on it. Then we'd be able to really negotiate. Oops. There must be consequences. Too often in this life, yeah, there's no consequences to actions. That's why AJ just turn up and lose every time. That's why AJ turns up and shits his pants against Mr. Blobby. Why do you think AJ, Mr. Buff, one of the buffest dudes we've all ever seen, how do you think he was running from Mr. Blobby? There's no consequences. Okay, I'll shit my pants, run away from Mr. Blobby, and no one's going to do anything about it. That's why. Yeah? No consequences. So it's about time someone gives this guy some consequences. Yeah? You lose, and you get treated like a bum B-side, which you are. Like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back. No doubt about it, 100%.